this way it is recorded, and I'll go ahead and drop this in the room now for anybody who doesn't have access or can't jump on. What I want to do is discuss some of the long-term trades. I will say again that I have yet to meet two people who trade the same way. Uh, to this day, it's still just not there. Let me go to six-figure discussion, paste this. But having said that, there are some of us who collaborate well. I feel like Jamie and I collaborate well, so we see things in a comparable way, which is pretty rare. And there's only one other person who I've worked with, in this entire industry who I can honestly say when we look at the charts, when we discuss indicators, for the most part, most of the time we can see what each other's talking about without too much difficulty. So I'm going to say again that my goal for this is not just to be a signals group, it's to be something that where you guys kind of, maybe it's my way, maybe it's Elvis's way, maybe it's the guy next door, but ultimately you guys start to see things in a way that works for you. And then from there, we tweak it and we fine tune it to be something that is long term. Now, if I had my wish, I would again say, let's stick with the 4 hours, let's stick with the longer time frames, a lot less stress and a whole bunch more money. But for some of you who can't do that, I get it. This is weeks of time that nobody really understands because somebody posted in the group, oh, look what I made today. And they're super excited and they're happy, which they should be. Um, but you guys are thinking that it's an everyday thing. So my hope is that you guys stop being the convenience store mentality. There's a multitude of books in terms of personal development that will tell you that if you're ever going to be successful in this business or any other business, we have to get over that convenience store mentality. And I heard another leader who I know heart was in the right spot. They were saying that, if you show them a tiny bit of blue every day, it shuts them up essentially. It keeps them quiet essentially. It could be 50 cents, but it's blue and it makes them happy. And all I could think of was, God, that's right. It's true. And I wish it wasn't true. Like I legit wish that we were a better or a higher caliber of people with a bigger understanding that I don't really want 50 cents a day. I don't want $5 a day. I don't even want $50 a day because I want my six figures a couple of times a year, maybe even seven. I want my $70,000 withdrawal, even if that meant I went months and months with no 50 cents and no $5 is and none of that. So I really hope that message hits close to home for some of you as we're trying to learn this concept of actual patience, which means we stop looking at the charts and stop messaging poor Miss Jenny about what is this bear going to do? I am not a psychic. We use technical analysis to make a decision. The only difference between you and I is I trust the decision and I hold on for the ride. And you guys watch the charts for a week going, oh my goodness, we're going to die. So having said that, that's kind of the soapbox I wanted to touch on. I had a coaching, which I haven't done a lot of coachings here lately because I wanted you guys to plug into the classes because that's part of it rather than trying to do one-on-ones. But it was a nice informative moment. And this person, hopefully they don't mind me talking about it, but they're in real estate. And of course I love real estate as a, side hustle, as a, just a kind of hobby, as it's something to do. But something that I really thought about was in all my other businesses and even as an agent, you'll know that it's very feast and famine. So you might make $30,000-$40,000 in sales by selling a couple of houses, these 3 months of the year, but you might go 6 months with literally not a drop of an income at all. So, but we think about that in terms of business. What you don't understand is just like us, we reload our trading accounts just like us. We put $100 in or $50 in. They're using gas in their car, wear and tear on their vehicle. They're using money out for lunch. They're buying leads in many cases. So they're buying clients who may or may not have panned out. So they're still investing in their business during that 6 months of dry time. But at the end of the year, if they can, many real estate agents in most major cities, six figures is majorly attainable. Super easy to do, especially if you have any bit of a network or a couple of years of a clientele, built up. So it doesn't matter if they only made 30 40,000 for these months and then nothing for 6 months, because they know at the end of the year this is a 100 to $200,000 profession depending on your clientele in your area. So if you guys can transition your mind from this convenience store gratification mentality, and I mean that with the most amount of gentleness and the most amount of love possible, that I think you guys, whether it be the way I see my charts, whether it be the way you guys see your charts, I think that you guys are ultimately going to get there, but you're not going to get there if you're constantly tripping out. So having said that, wanted to look at a couple odd pairs, and then I wanted to show you, I caught some of gold this morning on the sell on this strategy I was telling you guys about, and I caught some of US 30. I had to close US 30 because this is a small account and I couldn't afford to change the screen and not manage it. But I got most of that buy and I got most of the sells on the scalping. So anybody who wanted to have a demo account or anybody who wanted to maybe play scalp with me, what we would do is when we come in here, I would even probably be willing to go live with you guys a couple other days of the week as well. If you're free, you're free. You don't have to come. No hard feelings. But let's just test it out. So at this point, the strategy that I'm looking at is approximately 93, 92%. I'm still working on that MACD that way because my eyes aren't in love with it, but I'm working on it. Let's see, manage participants, mute all. I think that's you, Derek, who's got like, I think that's your fancy microphone that's picking up all that noise. But anyways, so looking at a couple of the trades that we're in, we know the NZD CAD was, once it pulled back, was something that we could potentially get back in. So let's start with that. Remember that all signals that come from me are meant to be a 55 pip gain, or how much we're going for. So 55 pip growth, take profit. That is not our take profit. It is just the lot size we're using. So we know that now, we're good. Having said that, we know that you can only enter, once you enter, you're responsible for managing your trade. I cannot make you. You have to decide that. So this is NZD CAD. We bought this way up. Right now we have a triple arrow. So we'd either wait for this to either repaint, which it could, or wait for this to kind of finish coming all the way back. We may see it retest even down to here. Maybe, maybe not. There's not a boatload of news this week that's going to kind of push the market in that direction. So we're still kind of holding off on this. To go to Euro JPY, I know everyone is just in a mess, but when I told you guys how I traded, I told you the truth. Like, the truth is, I take my trade. I don't care if this was a week. I don't care if this was 2 days. Of course, this is perfect, and everybody posts this time. But there are many other people in the group who, I promise, get stuck in this and don't post until this happens. So what you don't know is they held this. So some people got in way before me. They got in way over here. They dealt with the drawdown. They were in profit. They dealt with the drawdown. Maybe they closed out with some of the profit. They got back in, and now here we are. So again, for right now, we have daily dots that are going against us. We still see this as an ultimate sell. So did it come up and test the ADR high? Yep, it did. So is that pretty normal? Yep. Do I wish it would have tested only 50%? Of course I do. Like, that's a no-brainer. But that's why we're only taking 4 trades. If I was managing your guys' accounts, I would know how much margin you have, and I would know how much availability you have. But since I don't know, I'm trying to be as safe as possible, but also high risk. What that means is 4 trades max. You should not be blowing your margin. Using those lot size, your account should not be in jeopardy, even if this happens. Like, we should be totally fine. So in theory, provided you guys are using a 1,000 to 2001 account, if you're using the high risk, if you're not using a 1,000 to 2,000 account, in terms of leverage, you need to go down to the lower risk because it will not work, and that is not on me. So having said that, we still see this as a sell. And actually, Mr. Jamie sent me a markup, and I think I could pull up on, let's go to my, if it will pull up, let's go to EJ. So most people are seeing this as a several hundred pip fall. So what does that mean? It simply means that, let me make this bigger for you guys. It just means that there's going to be a lot of market manipulation. There's going to be people fooling around. Remember, I told you guys a few weeks ago that oftentimes this baby move, dollar for dollar, is worth exponentially more than this entire move, because this is where the big banks make their money. They make their money off of everybody getting stopped out, everybody getting scared, everybody getting, unsure of what's going on. And this is the part that's worth the most. This baby move is worth 10 times more than this enormous one. And when you understand that about the market, and you understand a little bit about the psychology and the other traders, because it's not just charts, guys, it's other traders, you're going to do exceptionally well. So this is my super quick, super kind of really close markup. We definitely have plenty of room to get plenty of pips, and we have plenty of room to let it breathe. So now the question is, can we let it breathe? Like, I don't know if you guys can mentally let it breathe. So we know what's going to have a reaction in this area. The odds are we'll get triple arrows saying to buy, because this will be a reversal zone. And I'm sure Pat's going to call this what is he going to call it, a hot zone? But it's the same concept as what we talked about before, the supply and demand. They're just, areas of interest, if you will. So in and around this area, we're going to get something that shoots up or pulls back, plays around with where it drops. I mean, we can't predict that, especially without news, but this is still a valid trade. It's still a very good risk to reward trade. It's still a very good trade if you guys can mentally and emotionally handle holding on for the ride. And as you guys know, most of the trades I called has harmonic patterns on them, which have 70-80% accuracy on their own, especially on the 4-hour and daily time frame. So this is GU. So we know that this was a reaction zone. It didn't get higher than this since May. I think that Gary and I were talking about that, and we know that. So does it guarantee that it won't shoot up and make a higher high? We test that one more zone that's a little bit higher up. We have no guarantee of that, but for right now, again, risk to reward. This is a good quality, good risk to reward trade. We know we'll get some reaction somewhere in this zone. Once you're in profit, you hold it. Worst case scenario, you're going to get this much out of it, which is still an awful lot. So from this next kind of area where price turned around, you're still looking at almost 200 pips, give or take. So again, still a safe, very good trade. And Euro Chef. Now, mind you, the Chef, it gets a little tricky with politics, but it's still not the end of the world. It's neither here nor there. So we have our kind of tweezer tops, because you guys can see. I'll zoom in a little bit. And 2 full body candle that would, I believe, still qualify as a railroad. I don't want any Japanese candlestick people to flip out. The same concept. We broke that trend line. We retested the trend line. And this is where everyone says, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work. So I'm not super worried. Again, very good risk reward. This isn't a fast mover. Very safe and easy to follow trade. Not much to worry about. I mean, worst case, you have that ugly wick on the side, but we still have to give it more room than that. So that's what I'm seeing. If you guys can see that too, I hope so. Anybody at all? Anybody? Because here I am talking to myself again. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on those trades? Are you guys all okay with that? Because by all means, speak up. Tell me what you're seeing. If you see something different, I'm 1,000% open to your analysis. You might see something I don't see. That's very, very possible.
No, I'm seeing the same thing, Jen.
Who's that? They're talking.
Chris?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good.
Happy Tuesday. And that's what I'm saying. With swing trading, it's different, guys. This is going to be we hold and we get a life. Including me, I got to get a life. Working on it. So this is where they shake people out of the market, and you got to decide if you're shakeable or if you're strong. If you're shakeable.
Hey, Janet.
Yes,
Jenny,
sir.
I got a question.
How can I help you? Who's this?
Greg.
Hey, Ren.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, those trades you're talking about the long drops that they might have. They're not gonna start dropping like that to what, next week? About?
Oh, well, I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't know. We don't know when this move is going to happen. I have no way of predicting this, and everyone can say that they do, but we have no way to predict when this exact moment is going to happen. Okay, so when EJ decides to drop, now granted, there's no major manipulation moves, or more accurately, news this week. So like with Canada, a couple weeks ago, they had that election, which just meant they had the political and fundamental foundation to truly play with the market. So in terms of like EJ and GU, for the most, well, GU kind of does because they have that interest rate news on Thursday, but they have they have nothing big enough to shake this big enough, if that makes any sense, to truly go against us by hundreds of pips. So could it potentially pop up? Yes, it could, but they don't have any major fundamental foundational news that is going to justify this, going 100 pips out of structure. So not to say it couldn't happen, but just fundamentally, it shouldn't happen. So when is this going to drop? I don't know. I have no idea. Could be tonight.
Okay.
Could be while we're on the call. It could be next week. But guys, when I tell you guys I'm a stress-free trader, most people fail because trading is stressful. So when we look at the charts, we see all these possibilities as technical traders. We see the psychology of it. We see I'm rich. I can wait. I can wait. I'm rich. You know, we see when we analyze charts, we see this and we think, oh my gosh, this is all I got to do. I can do this. But then when we put it into practice, a lot of times our actuality is never the same as our hypothetical. So I don't know when this is going to drop. I can't swear that even it will. And that's my bias, but that's where we're at. So it could just consolidate for a week. But the thing, Greg, is I don't have to know. I don't have to care either. Like as long as I know I'm not over leveraging my account. So even I'm going high risk on some of those accounts, granted. But I know that I can hold this trade until it decides to do what it's going to do. I can handle that. And I'm not so interested in today's profit as the bigger picture. I'm not so interested in did I get my blue today? Did I get my blue today? And if I were, we're going to discuss a little bit of scalping, which is high risk, but it's just something to do. If you guys desperately need blue that badly every day, swing trading is not for you because you will drive yourself crazy. You will go crazy. Just think about how many days this is. I need to make this bigger. Okay, so this, okay, let's just assume somewhere over here we start looking for a reversal. We keep pushing up. We get this major wick, and that wick would be telling us it's going to drop, right? So we've got all this area of interest, we'll call it. So this right here is the 21st. This is the 5th. So going on more than 2 weeks now. More than 2 weeks now, people have been waiting for this to drop. 2 weeks, and some people have, a Maserati lot size on this. Some people have, 50 standards on this one trade, and they'll go hard. So, but that's what trust and faith is. The only difference is they're not going to post the results until it comes in. So you don't know that behind the scenes they were in this for give or take a week or two, drawdown stress and don't know what's going on. Like that's what was happening. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's it.
But I do got one other question.
Yes, sir.
Did you just say somebody had 50 lot sizes on this trade?
Oh yeah, I know people who've got way more than that. I've got, let's see, hold on. I've got on that on EJ, I've got what, a little less than half of that. So I've got almost 30 or 40 lot sizes on the EJ.
30 to 4. Oh, okay. Let me just keep listening to how you keep. That's nice. Ooh.
It's not too hard. Like it's once you get comfortable, worst case, I lose the trade. But trading with people makes it way different. Like trading with me, I'm cool. I got this. I'm good. Like, but trading with you guys are like a lot to take in. It's a lot. I can't say that in any.
Well, Jenny, we trying to get where you at. That's why we listening to you.
I know. Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you is if you're gonna swing trade, okay, if this is what you're gonna do, it takes the patience to say, okay, I trust the trade. If it goes against me, so that means you are emotionless. That means so if you win it, you strategically count your pips. If you lose it, you strategically count your pips, and you're just looking for the next trade. So you're only allowed to be in 4 at a time. If you treat this mathematically, and just math, okay, emotional turmoil. Somebody said in the chat exactly. But if you can't handle this, you're never gonna handle making 6 figures on a trade. You're never gonna handle losing 6 figures on a trade for that matter. And people do all the time. These big guys don't play with little lot sizes. There's some people who trade once a week and not every week. They study all week to find one single 10 pip move. They put 100 standard lots on that one single 10 pip move, and that is all they trade. Not necessarily every week, but a couple times a month. They're just waiting for their setup. One time, one trade, once a week. But once you have that kind of money, that's easy to do.
Makes sense.
It's crazy.
I understand.
They're doctors. So that guy's a doctor. He's a doctor.
Well, I'm gonna be a doctor one day.
So like, yeah, that's you guys will get there. So
Just call me Dr. Pip.
Dr. Pepper, huh? We can call you Dr. Pip. I like it. I definitely like it. So guys, in terms of another trade, I'm happy with the ones we're in. We're in 3. If I were to get another one, I'd probably want to re-enter one of the CAD pairs, but none of those are quite ready. We know that odd USD, sorry for the background noise. Everyone really trading in the zone. Hey, Ricky, thank you. You're right. Like trading in the zone, there you go. You should totally read that book. I recommended it to a friend recently. And then I got it back out and I was reading it again. And The Disciplined Trader is not bad, but Trading in the Zone is better. It's a good book. It's a really good book. You'll understand yourself better. It's mostly psychology. It's head work than technicals like you would think it is, but it's good, very good. And Ricky, that guy Matt Kearney, like I didn't even know all the songs he sang, so I put on an album from him. I was with a friend and we were looking at properties out by Fernandina Beach, and it was I put on the album, right? He's got so many amazing songs. Like one of them is a remake from an artist called Sade. And when that song came on, like I legit like cried. That guy is so amazing. I love that guy, just so you know. So thank you for that recommendation. I didn't even know who that was, but I'm feeling it now. So all the time. Audiobook is Trading in the Zone is available on YouTube. That's why I told you guys most books are available on YouTube for free. So all right, so looking at odd USD, we know that a couple people caught that first drop. It did retest. Oh well. We had news last night, so we weren't going to look at any odd pairs, and that's just it is what it is. So now we're looking at this and saying, okay, do we trust kind of what we're seeing? So we have a flat top. That would be considered an actual. Wait for this to load. There we go. That flat top is exactly what we want to see, but it's not super valid because this candle is not bigger than this candle. So now it's a matter of kind of seeing what it does, and I'm kind of content with the trades that we are in. So if we're going to go over something, I think it should be scalping. What do you guys think? Anybody?
Come on, bring it, sister.
Okay. So Jamie, I don't know, he's quiet today. He gets in his funk. So usually like on Tuesday, I'm on top of the world. By Thursday, he's usually got the oomph, and I'm like, eh. It's a
I'm just sitting here learning. I'm learning from the master.
So check this out. We've been playing, right? I took a US 30, but I couldn't hold it because I couldn't stay. I couldn't go to gold and then go to this too. So that's just a baby account. That's the one that I showed you guys. It had like 18 bucks in it. Now it's got almost 200, but I'm just testing stuff in this account. So, and this account can hold US 32. It's only got 500 to 1 leverage. So it's not much, but this is what we've been doing. So, oh man, and I'm missing that too. See what happens. Okay, so I gotta make this bigger for my purposes. So bear with me. I'm gonna move this over. So I caught US 30 on that huge buy. And now it's it definitely retested, but I got out, so it was before this week. So I was in here, I closed out in profit, but I missed that huge one, which as you guys know on US 30, I missed out on a lot of pips. A lot of pips, which is not even a little nice, but that's okay. So I closed out in profit on that. I don't want to show you guys this on US 30 because it's too much and it's hard to compound. But I'm going to show you on gold because gold is worth $10 per pip. So I'm not recommending you do this. I will not participate in you doing this. I will just say it's a lot of fun to do this. If you're in a position where, so somebody said odd USD may retest 688, which is what, 100 pip, that's a 10 pip drop? Something like that. Okay, so anyways, you guys can see on my screen, I've got up the 5-minute and the 1-minute chart. Okay, so just to kind of go over a couple of things, this is how you get them both on here. So this is the one I have my alert set up on. That's why I have so many open. This is just, I can't do a lot on this broker because it's the one that's best for my alerts. So since it's best for my alerts, I use it specifically for that. And then I just play with it on my own things because otherwise it can't handle it. So what we're seeing is we have the 50 SMA, and write this down. This is recorded, but I will delete this video in like 48 hours. And then this is the 9 EMA. This is the 3 EMA. Those are standard fractals. And for anybody who says you can trade off a single fractal, That's, as it appears, is not accurate because it doesn't appear until 2 candles later. Just for those of you who don't know, I was thinking about this morning, talking to somebody. I was like, really? Really, guy? But anyways, down here we have 2 different MACDs. One of them is standard, and that's my pink one because I am a colorful girl, and I had them both as green last time we talked, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't just see it. So we can't pick the color, but we instead, I like to have my white line as 0. This is the settings, 12, 26, and 9. For the pink one is the regular one. We call it slow, okay? You guys got all that? Twelve, 26, and 9, apply to close. This one is pink. Capiche? Done. Now the other one, indicator list, I think it's this one. Let's find out. This is our fast one. This is 5, 15, and 1, apply to close. I have this one set at green, lime green. Again, I didn't need to, but duplicated the 0 line being white. Got it? Parameters are 5, 15, and 1. The EMAs are 9 and 3. The SMA is 50. That's a 50 simple moving average. Okay. And this one's our fast EMA. Okay. I also have my little gap thingy that shows me the spread. I think that's really helpful. So my fast MACD is 12, 26, and 9. My slow MACD is 5, 15, and 1. Moving averages, I have my stats on there. I have my alerts for any of the people who've worked with me one-on-one. Info plus, and you can take it or leave it. Moving average, bar alert is how much it moves per day. Like this is my entire setup. I've got fractals on there. I also have that binary arrow just because I think it's good.
We'll do it. Say, okay. Say, run this check up. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, who's that? Like, I don't want to eavesdrop on your conversation. Mute all. Continue. There you go. I need to update the Agimat. Why? Is it different now, Chris? What does yours look like? Will you send it to me? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but that one works for me. I don't hate it. Unless the other one's like way better. Is it better? Well, all that does is tell me the spread. So like, I don't know what the update is. If the update's great or not, I'm sure it's fine. But either way, I will look for the new one or just send it to me. Newer isn't always better, but that's all I've got on here. I've got my big white arrow just because it kind of helps me with a few things. As of right now, we're getting a double bottom on gold, but here's what we're looking for. So the rules are, okay, this is it. It's super simple, so don't miss it. Like, it's not complicated. If I'm below the 50 and my fast MACD, so remember my green one's my faster one, right, is below the 0 line. So if I'm below the 50, I am below the 0 line on my fast MACD on the 5-minute chart, okay? My 9 and 13 are below the 50 on the 5-minute chart. So we're below the 50. 9 and 13 is below the 50. Fast MACD is below the 0. I'm going to the 1-minute chart to look for entries, okay? And here's how many entries we found this morning. Let me close this. I'm gonna make this big. There you go. There you go. Look, those lines may or may not have been from this. So just for sake of accuracy, we're going to attempt to do this right. I will even change the color. Moving forward, any color, any line I draw is going to be, how about this pale green? This way you guys will know that moving forward, just in case we run into a line that I drew on US 30 or something else. So any of this time that we're looking for the charts, keep in mind I sleep during London, so I'm not going to claim to have caught. Oh, come on, silly butt. Let's go. I'm not going to have claimed to have caught a lot of that stuff because, well, I'm asleep for London. Like I'm not going to catch all that stuff. But we also know that I get up, I check on my children, do breakfast, sometimes do yoga, depending on the morning and how early I went to bed. So anywhere in and around here, okay, I'm seeing the charts, right? Let's just pretend that I saw the chart, an awkward spot right here. Okay. That candle is 14.15. So I'm going to go to my 1 minute chart. Well, here, are we below the 50? Check. My 9 and 3 are below the 50? Check. Is my fast MACD below the 0? Check. So I'm going to go to the 1 minute chart and I'm looking solely and exclusively for sells. I don't care about this. That means I'm going to miss it, but I'm only looking for sells, right? So starting at 14.15, here's what I'm looking to find on the 1 minute chart. Each time I'm going for 10 pips only. 10 pips only and you close no matter what. I mean, I would say hold until the MACD flips, which I've discussed that with my friend. But you become risky with that. So if we're pretty darn sure this is good for 10 pips, and I can show you guys a compound sheet where you go from 150 bucks essentially to $1 million in 24 trades, although your accuracy pretty much has to be 100% for that, which we can't promise that, like ever. And since we know that, I would say 150 bucks to a couple 100,000 even in 50 trades. And for example, today we took 8 today alone. And keep in mind, I had a class with you guys. So that means I haven't been catching the last 3 or 4, okay? To give you an idea of how possible that is. So
Wait. Say that one more time. I just gotta hear you say it one more time.
we took 8 trades this morning and I didn't even have that much time. I didn't do yoga though either, so. We took 8 trades before I jumped on this call.
Jesus.
Well, in all fairness, because those between, let me be more honest, between US 30 and gold. So, but my friend, they took, I think that's their 11th trade for the day, but they get up for London. So I'm not up for London.
Hey, Jenny,
Yes, sir.
where can we get a copy of that $1 million printout?
There's 5,000 copies in the group, but I will send another one today if you'd like.
Yeah, please. I asked you about it once before, so when you put it out, I must have missed it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And I trust me, I get it. I miss a lot of stuff. I won't hold it against you. Just don't hold it against me. You know?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll put it back in there. I'll put it in the Excel edition. And also, guys, check the notification channel. So if you're looking for something versus checking the chat, it's the best place to check. But back to the rules. Okay. So on the 5 minute chart, if we're below the 50, the 9 and 3 are below the 50, and our fast MACD is below the 0, we are going to the 1 minute chart. We're looking for sells. There's a couple different ways to do this, and that's 1,000% up to you. But what we're looking for, if this is 14.15, let me move it over. Oh, come on, don't do this. Don't frustrate me. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so if what we're looking for is, we're looking for this re-entry. So we can take the break of a fractal, but that's risky. So that would be your high risk setup, is taking the break of the fractal. So in this case, our fast MACD is on top of that. See that pink line? It's on top of the slow MACD. So this would qualify, but we're late to the party. Again, not the end of the world if we take the next break of the fractal. However, we don't want to take the next break of the fractal. You can, but that's your fastest, most reckless, entry. Although what you're going to see is, instead of looking for it that way, this is 4.15, so we're pretending like we saw nothing before then. Trying to do this fine-tuned stuff, and Apple wants to be a pain in the butt with my mouse. Thank you, people. Please don't keep moving around. So our first entry is going to be when when the fast MACD crosses over the slow MACD. So see right here, We have one full histogram bar below the zero, and we are officially on top of this slow MACD, right? We want one full bar to close. One full bar to close, which would mean our entry wouldn't be until this bar. See how tiny that is? Or this bar. We cannot enter here because we were not on top of this yet. And I know it sounds super, super, super irrelevant, but it's not. If you want to have that kind of accuracy on this kind of fine tunement, you have to do exactly what we're saying to do. So to recap, 50, 9, and 3, they're all in, numerical order kind of, because everything's below the 50 and our fast EMA is below the 0. We're going to our 1 minute to look for a sell. What we're waiting for is, again, everything has to line up, which means we are below the 50. Our 9 and our 13 kind of crossed, or we're still below the 50. And we're looking for our fast MACD to cross over our slow MACD, okay, and be on the right side of the 0. So our fast MACD is on the right side of the 0 right here, but we're not kind of closed over the slow MACD just yet. We want that one whole bar to close. So this one, I'm going to try to zoom in without losing control of my mouse. Just to show you. That one. So if you see right here, technically we are not closed above that fast MACD yet, are we? So that's not where you enter. You have to enter here. Okay, would you have got your 10 pips? Yes, you would. And you go back and test this, try this in demo. Okay, try this in demo, and that's the best you can do. So that's one entry. You won that, and then you're just kind of hanging out and scalping. So again, we come over here, we're waiting, we're looking mostly at the MACD. So we broke above the 0 line, and boom, we're here. We're closing below the 0, which is where my smart brain tries to take over, if you guys want the truth. Hey, but we have a fresh crossover, because I like my EMAs, and I'm seeing we have a fresh crossover. We just broke below the 0. But if we're going to follow the rules, we'd either have to break a fractal, which we did here, okay? Or we would need our line to be on top of. So this would be our next entry. Hold on, and I'll show you why. Sorry, guys. It's just the axiom of trying to teach you guys something. I wish you would believe me that my computer screen does not do that when I'm not on a live call, or I wouldn't be able to use it. But I get on a live call with you guys, and all of a sudden, my mouse decides to have a mind of its own. So let's move this over here. Remember, our fast entry for this strategy is a break of a fractal. Again, so that means we're below the 50. We're below the 9. The 9 and the 3 are also below the 50. And our MACD has to be below. Okay, but we need at least one bar, okay, on the other side of the 0. That's your fast entry. Your best entry is when you are officially on top, or this is crossing over that fast MACD or the slow MACD, which we don't technically get until here. So again, here's our next entry, 10 pips, we got it. And this is minutes at a time. Okay. Next entry, this one pulled against you for a while, well, 2 minutes more accurately, but we got it. So our next break of a fractal is here. We broke the fractal, and technically we're below the 0, we're below the 50, everything's lining up. And yeah, we are above we're crossing over the fast MACD, and the slow MACD is crossing over, and we're on the other side of the 0. I don't know, is this making sense to any of you guys? Even on this one, which is not the best entry, this is not a smart entry, we got our 10 pips. Okay. And draw another line just to show you how many trades this is. But that's risky. Just, I'm going to say again, especially at first, I wouldn't trade the break of the fractal. I would trade, I'll show you. This is what you should be looking for the most part. So again, you'd miss it, but if you don't trade the break of the fractal, you're going to miss all this. And we were on the phone during this part, so we missed that one. So again, when we come over here, we now close below the 0. You can see the fast MACD is closing below the 0 line, and we are crossing over the slow MACD, okay? So anywhere in and around this area. And again, well, this one's cutting it close because you have a spread. So I don't think this one would win because the spread alone. What is the spread? 0.9 of a pip, maybe. Now on this broker, that trade manager works. So what you would have it set at is at 7 pips, it would protect 2 pips of profit, which it doesn't leave any room for error. It doesn't leave any room for loss at all. Yeah, I'd have to count that one as a not a win, unless you were managing it. But if you saw those wicks and you were smart enough to get out, I mean, because this is something you do real time and you watch. But this is what you're looking for, is when your fast MACD closes below the 0 line on the 1-minute chart and crosses over the slow MACD. You want at least 1 bar, okay, and you want it to close over the slow MACD, period. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
I got it.
Can everybody see that? Hold on, let's see. When you say the MACD is below the 0, do you mean the signal line is below the histogram, or? Okay, so this is your slow MACD. Okay, this one's your fast. So I mean, if I were buying here, which I'm not, because again, it doesn't match the rules. And you'll note this will technically win. And that's my argument, but I tend to do that. My brain works overtime. But that's not always the best thing to know. So, of course, you would have won on that one, super easy. But we don't want to test, we don't want to get stuck at that 50 and then have everything turn around. Yeah, it's just taking a minute to get my eyes used to the small candles and the colors. So I'm gonna make it a little bigger. When trading this way, we can't leave it stretched out like this. You have to leave it pretty big. You need to understand what each candle is doing. You are watching every single trade. You are not walking away. Your kids are wild. I'm joking. So the MACD settings are the standard 12, 26, and whatever. What is it? Somebody put them in the group too. So 12, 26, and 9. And then the fast MACD is 5, 15, and 1. We've got some background noise. I'm going to mute everybody. If you don't have any background noise, you can feel welcome to unmute. Okay, but that's it. That's legit all we're doing. So like in terms of us as a group and as a small family, we have our swing trades. We're comfortable. You guys are hopefully learning to close that broker. For the love of God, close the broker and maybe just go into a different account. If you have some time or need to feel productive, pull up your scalping thing, hopefully on a demo. I mean, if you're okay with blowing a $100 account, fine, do that. If not, skip it. So right now we are below the 50. Now everything in me would want to take this trade. But here's how I see it. I see my crossover of my EMA, my binary arrow. Granted, this is 1-minute chart. Our fast broke above the 0. Okay, but we're not above the next 0 just yet. So I would still see this as a valid scalp for how I scalp. But if we want to be rather safe than sorry, then we're going to stick with the rules. So right now we have this ungodly area to wait on. Not fun, but we have the same area on US 30 too. It's pretty big. It's pretty big, to tell you the truth. So Derek just put the settings in there. I'll recap one more time. This is just a way of doing things. There's thousands, okay? Thousands and thousands. So the end result needs to be you can see it. So if you can't see this, let's create some rules that you can. Because even this, that whole MACD thing is tricky for me. That's why mine are different colors right now, because they were irritating me being green. It was like, I'm done talking about this because it's stupid and I can't see it. But changing the colors, all we're really looking for is that second line, with one to at least close. And preferably, if you match enough rules with one closing, great. It breaks a fractal, take it. If you want to wait, because technically this is above. We're looking for buys. This is above that fast MACD. Let's look for a sell. So we're not technically crossing over the slow MACD here, but we are officially below the slow MACD here. So there's thousands of ways to see this. And that's the problem with smart people, including myself. We need to stop overthinking everything and stop being dumb. So starting next week, that's 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I'll see what I can do with a couple small accounts using probably just gold. I mean, I would love to be the rock star that did this with US 30, but we all know US 30 is not easy to compound. It's very difficult to compound. So I'll stick with gold. If I'm in profit, I'm going to protect my profit. And I haven't played with my worksheet just yet, but I think I'll do like 30 some odd percent profit. Now, mind you, your stop loss on this, I would not have a stop loss set. If I did, I'd be using my tool that hides it. Okay. I used it on Bitcoin this weekend, actually. So let's pull up Bitcoin. So I caught some of Bitcoin and I caught some of XRP too, right before Hugo's Wave froze. I was in US 30. Wait a minute. I was in US 30 and I was in, and this is not a big enough account to be like justifying being in US 30. This was me, playing. Okay. In all honesty, this was just me, and stinking Hugo's Wave froze when I was in US 30, Bitcoin, and XRP at the same time on some tiny little account. So you guys know, my account was tripping out, but I won them, so I was happy, I guess.
Yeah, froze in the right way, huh?
Well, actually, it was coming back online, but the charts still weren't moving yet. So I was fidgeting with my take profit. And I mean, I could have got a lot more out of it, but I closed in profit. Like, not a lot of profit. This is just a baby account, but enough that I didn't blow the account. So I was happy. I was content. So the problem with doing this on Bitcoin, for the gentleman or Gregory who asked, or Greg, is you see how it gaps? It's just real hard to find the candle formations on the 1 minute chart. It's not fluid enough. Yeah, we think it froze because of that huge spike on XRP. You're not the only one. But Hugo's Way isn't the only one that did that either. So a lot of brokers couldn't handle the amount of money that got dumped into the market at that very second. So sometimes I believe it's ugly stuff and it's manipulation. But I think most of the time it's just the market. So blame is for silly people. I don't need to do it. I don't care what happened. I mean, it is what it is. So, okay, so back to Bitcoin. Problem with Bitcoin is there's no real candle formation. So let's make it big on the 1 minute. Like, you'll have those flat lines all the time, which is like, it's horrible. You can't even see those candles. But I want to show you this right here. That irks me to no end. That right there. They're none of them are candles. They're just little dashes on my screen. So technically it works on Bitcoin, but this is meant to, just like with US 30, it's difficult to quantify your pips and compound effectively. It's difficult to justify the stop loss you would need on this, because I mean, it's got to have so much room to breathe that it's not worth it necessarily. IC markets is infinite for that, Chris. Yeah, because are you logged into your IC market account on your phone too? And VPS solves a lot of those problems, guys. There's no other way to say it. Chris, log into the same broker, the same account on your phone, on a tablet, on another device. So for instance, if I had lost those Hugo's Ways trades, here's what would have happened. And this is why I stick with them. So do I think they're the best? No, I like their customer service. I would have been able to show them screenshots from my phone saying that this account is disconnected. I would have been able to show them down here. Okay, I think it said like server error is what it was saying yesterday. I would have been able to show them this is what was happening. I was in these trades. I had no way to change these trades. I want all of them. Okay, closed out with minimal profit, and I'll accept that, which they've done for me countless times. So I just simply send in the screenshots to say, this is what's happening. It wasn't my computer, it was a you guys issue, and they'll fix it. Worst case scenario, I had an issue with the bot I was running. The bot kept picking up GBP USD trades, and it was like I was livid, but it kept picking them up and then it would close them. So it would close them. It took them and closed them, and it just for no reason. And they weren't huge losses, but there were like 1,000 of them. And I thought it was the broker, but it was only happening on GBP USD, which took me a long time to realize that. Reagan, yeah, AFX is a good high leverage broker. That's the reason I like them. And at least they give you their money. Everything else, and they have no fees either, which is good. I have a referral link. If you don't have them, you can message me, I'll give it to you. But anyways, about Hugo's Way. So even when that happened, and then we finally got to the bottom of it, they ended up refunding 50% of the stuff that was my mistake. And it wasn't a lot. They were just, because they were opened instantly and closed instantly, so you're kind of paying for the spread, if you will. But they did it for me. They fixed 50% of it. So it's their Hugo's Way just has great customer service. If they would just pick up their leverage, they'd probably be my only broker. But their leverage is not good. That is a tool that I only give to my coaching clients, which I don't even do a lot of coaching, honestly. So I'm not pushing that. I wish you guys would just come to the classes, but I had to make it worth something for them, honestly, because I didn't ever want to charge for coaching anyways, but it's kind of cool, but it's not working on AFX right now because AFX took over. So, but back to this. To be clear, if we're above, this is Bitcoin, so we're above the 50, we're only looking for buys over here. Here's our entry. Okay, we have our break in around here. Any of these. You could take this, you could take this, and you would only be going for 10 pips. Not super easy to do on these high commodity kind of cryptos and all the other stuff. It's much, much different. And trust me, I want to be the girl who says, hey, I did this. I'm a rock star. I truly compounded an entire account with US 30. But I'm also intelligent enough to know that I'm probably going to work twice as hard to make half as much at the end of it, because trying to manage it is hard. So now we're going back to gold real quick. But back to what I was saying in terms of your stop loss, you would not want to keep a stop loss visible. So I know that Trade with Hollywood has a really cool tool. We discussed it. I think it's a great tool that hides your stop loss. And this is not proper risk to reward trade management. This cannot be proper risk to reward trade management just based off of the spread and market fluctuations alone. So what myself and my friend discussed is, okay, so we're going to do 20, 25 pip stop loss. And that when we say stop loss, we mean if it goes against us 20, 21 pips, we're closing the trade. So that would wipe out essentially 2 wins. But that's kind of how it goes with scalping. If you're not familiar, it's okay, skip it. But there's not a lot of way around that. And then even if I did pop it closer and closer and closer, I'm going to miss out. So we have to have something that's manageable and duplicatable. So that's where we landed on that. Typically, that gives it enough room to move. You guys can kind of see that. So if we had taken this trade, which we couldn't have taken this trade, I mean, it would tip, that's the lower low. So if we had taken it just based off of 1 minute and not caring about the 5 minute, which technically works, but I took more losses doing that because I wanted to prove that I could do this. So I tested this alone for a little while, but my accuracy was less. So that is not a good enough reason. My ego is not a good enough reason to give up accuracy, because technically you could do similar things only on a 1 minute chart and ignore this. So I was going to say, we'll go for 5 pips then to increase the accuracy. But the problem with going for only 5 pips is your stop loss still has to be like 20. So now you're at a 4 to 1, which just isn't worth it. So does that make sense to everybody? Everybody know?
In the spread too, right?
What? So this is not a free like commission and swap free broker that I'm on currently. So you have to have enough room for the spread. You have to have enough room for the fees that are associated with it, the commissions, taxes, swaps. Well, you shouldn't be doing this at market close anyways. The spread's too high. But yeah, you have to have enough. So my justification, because this is what we do. Like there's a few people who I can really talk to on that level, just because the way our brains kind of intersync. There's not a lot of them, but there are a few. Like so when we talk about things, I'll say, okay, well here's what I can make. I can do this, or he'll say I can do this, and like we just play with it. So I tested the whole 1 minute on this for a week or not. It's less than 2 weeks, but I only can count a week because it wasn't a full 2 weeks. We have strict rules for our testing policies, which I got pretty good at. But I wanted to say that we could technically do this off of the 1 minute chart and ignore all else. So I dropped on here, I dropped my ADX on here, especially because I wasn't seeing this super well, and sped it up a bit. But either way, my accuracy was still less, so it's not worth. It's not worth. This is something to tinkle with. Okay, so tinkle with this. When you have an itch, please close your swing trade brokers. Just close them. If you have a stop loss in place or a trade manager that will hide your stop loss, that's even better. You know, apply your stop loss, apply a trailing stop that's maybe 20 to 30% of your, what is it, 20 to 30% of your take profit. Apply a trailing stop and move on. Like go away with that. Because if you don't, you're just going to drive yourself crazy. Of course, sometimes that's going to help, but that's going to happen beautifully. But more often than not, it's going to fool with you. And it's just going to knock everybody out of the trade. And then everyone's mad and no one's happy. And like, get on with your life. Go do something totally different. So close those. I prefer stress-free trading too. This is more like of a pastime. That's it. And I wouldn't do it for more than like 3 hours. Like you need to set a timer, which means win, lose, or draw. If you're up on a trade and your timer is, if you're in a trade and you're negative and your timer's up, it means you are so strict to your rules, you hit close. If you are in a trade and your timer's up and you're not quite at 10 pips, you have to hit close. So like when you're calculating your wins and losses, you'll have something, a little note next to that trade that says, it says closed due to time, you know, my time was up due to scheduling. So that you would know not to count that in your risk or reward or your accuracy. Because if it didn't hit a full 10 pips, it doesn't count in terms of probability. And if you closed it in a loss, it doesn't count in terms of risk because you had to close it and you wouldn't have known. That's why you don't take trades too close to your 3 hour window. And even 3 hours is technically a lot. Other than talking to you guys, I don't typically sit in front of my computer for 3 hours. Ever.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
You guys say that, but I'm pretty sure y'all sit in front of your computer way more than 3 hours.
Yeah, but probably looking at something that intense would stress you out.
It doesn't have to be stressful. So like take the money out of this, ready?
Yeah,
10 pips. Here,
exactly.
let's pull this up. Where's it at?
Oprah's on.
Huh?
I said Oprah's on.
I don't think I've ever seen the show.
My aunt used to be a manager for her. She kicked us all out the house because we were ragging on Oprah, and she was like, "Get the hell out of my house!"
Are you serious?
She loved her some Oprah.
That's hilarious. New share. Okay. So let's go to this real quick, just to show you guys. Like so. This is the one I send out, so remind me to change it back in case I don't. Wow, that's really big on my screen. Holy cow. So let's say we put 150 bucks in. That's a lot of bucks. Okay. Now we're gonna change. I gotta close this one. Let's do a different one, sorry. I don't wanna edit that and then not change it back. Super easy trade. Let's go to mine. There we go. So I can play with this and I can know that I can just play with it and mess it up. So now let's go to share. Share. Chat. Stress kills, and it also gives you white hair and wrinkles. Thank you for coming, Greg. Okay, so here we are, right? This is per trade. I'm gonna go to $150.
The leak told me if I become a vegan, I'll lose my gray.
Did you really, Liqua?
Yes, it's possible. And you can
Did she
have a
say
better eyesight.
Did she say Jamie will grow long hair too?
No, I kind of love her because everyone thinks I'm crazy when I say stuff like that. I say it's possible, and they look at me like I must be a kook. Like, some people get really upset with me over
I
it.
mean, plant-based can also reverse the sickness and disease, so it's not only gray hair, but as you were. Oh, quick question, Jenny. If is it like I know it can be possible, but managing wise, wouldn't it be easier or I don't know, suitable? What about if we can do like two trades at like 6 pips? Ooh, that was loud. But or 5 pips each,
Well, I
and
tried
you
to.
can get, you know,
I tried to have that smart brain, right? And I
how
don't
does that work?
I don't know what I don't know. So I don't want to be inaccurate or mislead you. But from my understanding with where I'm at, and so all the disclaimers involved, and from testing, I still think a single trade at 10 pips is still your best way to go. Because you have to bear in mind there's more than one factor here. So let's say we do 2 trades at a 6 pip take profit, right? Try to understand that you're going for 12 pips and now you're risking 40 to 50 for the stop loss. Does that make sense? So your stop loss still has to be just as big to justify and to give it room to move.
Okay, so I thought you said that you don't do stop losses for like that
No,
scalping
you're,
strategy.
you're not going to have a stop loss on there. You're going to close it if it goes 20 pips against you, 20, 25 pips.
Right,
But you
right,
have to factor in the amount of what you're risking, right?
right.
So if you're factoring what you're risking versus what your risk to reward is already bad in this. The cards are already stacked against you is what I'm saying. So if you're going for 10 pips and you're closing at 20 pip negative, anywhere to 20, 25 pips, you got to close it. You got to cut your losses. Okay. Now,
Right.
having said that, if you're going for 6 pips, you still have to cut your losses at 20, 25 pips. So now
Right.
your risk to reward just got even worse.
Okay.
So that
I gotcha.
by it too. Honestly, I tried to say, wait a minute, well, watch me outsmart, this. But that's not always the best way.
I just thought because you'll get your 10 pips real quicker than wait for a whole 10 pips on one trade. At least if it hits even 5 pips, I'm just looking at it from a different perspective. If you get, your 5 pips twice at the same time, you're already out that trade for scalping purposes. And so
Yeah,
that's
in theory, you're right. So that's how I justified myself. That was my argument. But we're both wrong, and here's why: because we're actually quadrupling our risk out of stupidity. Like legit, that's what we're doing.
yeah,
And we think we're
right.
outsmarting it because I can tell your brain, like mine is like, watch me make this better. But it's not always better. Sometimes it's not better, not at all.
Yeah, because it's like double fees and double. Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
It is. It's a double fees, but it's
Yeah.
also most importantly, it's quadrupling your risk.
Okay.
So that's what makes it to say, no, this is not a good idea. That's bad. How do I do this again?
And it's probably not too great entering and exiting twice under a 1 minute candle.
Well, you're talking, that's a vast difference. So that's definitely a real thing too. Definitely. Let's make this pinker. No, silly butt. Edit. Undo. Sorry, you guys are playing with me for a second while I figure out what I'm doing. I know how to do it in theory. Sell. Okay. I want to make this row a cool color. And it's still not doing it. That's so weird. That'll work. I'm satisfied. I'm gonna stop playing now. Okay, so 23 trades based off of that. Now that takes 100% accuracy, which we all know is massively unlikely. Keep in mind, we would have to be using this lot size. This is actual high risk. This is like what we did in the other hangouts in the other group. We blew a lot of accounts, like, because there's no room. So your first trade, look how big that lot size is. I mean, based off of that tiny of an account. So either way, I figure if I made this 33, I could still handle one trade at a time. And since most of the time you can handle quite a few of them, that's 23 trades. And then here, I'm just gonna go.
Lord, increase my faith. 238. I need a faith increase right there. I'm definitely gonna have to break down them trades. I might have to just go by faith and break down that 238, Jenny. 0.81. One trade for 10
That's
pips.
what
Lord, increase my faith.
I'll just
I
have
need a
Benny.
faith injection.
Amen. Woo.
Dead money don't make no money.
Don't worry, I'll have brother Benny hand blowing your screen.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Well, then I'll have to be eating vegan, or I'll have to just be juicing or something, because I think that you totally can reverse gray hair too. I think you can reverse. We'll have to live forever, just juice and be a vegan. Aliko's gonna have to teach me how to cook vegan because I can only cook with meat. I mean, just saying. And
There's so many recipes that you'll think, healthy. And I'm not talking about like those
Especially,
impossible burgers that got all kinds of chemicals. I'm talking about like, if you would come here, I can bring you to like this vegan vegan restaurant. We'll meet up in Dubai and I'll show you some real vegan food. You're like, this is meat in here. I know it is. I get my mother all the time. You sure I'm not eating meat, baby? No, ma, it's not meat. And it's not tofu either. But it's really good. Really healthy.
I would love that.
she's trying to get
No,
me
I
to
don't do
get
soy.
Alika trying to get me to eat vegan pork chops.
good, you should eat it. It's good for you. Like, look, I'm all about eating some cauliflower. I will make cauliflower into everything, but like, I don't substitute the meat. Like, I substitute the carbs, like for cauliflower, but I just don't substitute the meat with the cauliflower. Like, to me, because I think that you can. Most people call me a quack and they say, oh, I mean, some people are like super mean about it. They say, oh, I can't live with my head in the clouds. But I believe that God said, and God gave us a body that can do all things. And like scientifically, it's not just Jenny's opinion. Your body can literally regenerate itself from every aspect in X amount of years, right? So that's not Jenny's opinion. Like, that's factual scientific information. But I think that we don't put our bodies and our minds and our emotions in the right mindset to do that. I mean, the Bible says, as you think, so you are. The Bible says that Jesus didn't heal the blind man, that his faith has healed him, right? I am that I am, the conversation with Moses. And I know that people don't want to, talk about that stuff, but to me, it was written, like, and it's powerful. You got to find the faith, like some of y'all are saying, you got to find it. And I fall short every day. I promise you, I fall short every day. But I want to live in a way like it says, with everything stacked against you, my faith is so strong, there is no amount of anything that could change it. So blood and guts, and I would still say this is whole, this is healed, and it actually be the case. Like, that's what kind of faith I want, if I can manage it somehow. So I feel you.
Absolutely. To each his own. I mean, I'm not really against people that eat animals.
Thank you.
It's just to each his own, and do everything in moderation, but don't look at my plate and be like, that's all you're gonna eat. While you talking about where my high blood pressure pill medicine at, so I'm not judge. Just don't judge my plate, and we just live a peaceable life. But yeah, do everything in moderation. I don't see nothing wrong with it.
You guys can keep talking. Hey, Jamie, will you take over for a second? Jamie, hold on. Jamie,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem. No problem.
You guys talk about food. Let me make this phone call.
We're talking about Alika and her bird seeds.
As long as it's not tofu.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm interested. I would love to learn to eat like that. I mean, I eat vegetables anyway. I just never had a real regimen, but I would love to.
And sometimes I believe it's on people's like blood types. I'm A positive, so it's easy for me to be on plant-based lifestyle because
Yeah,
my body doesn't create a lot of enzymes to break down all the fats and proteins of the animal. So it's easy for me. Like my brother, he's O positive and he'll eat probably anything from the rooter to the tutor, but he can digest that. But
right.
not saying that because you can digest it, that doesn't mean that you should overindulge and.
What what if you I'm B negative?
I know that actually I got some family members. I think chicken. I think like bees like it's something with chicken that doesn't agree with your blood type. But
Ooh, and I eat chicken all the time.
and sometimes like for example, I didn't know when I used to eat red meat in the military, I didn't know that I was allergic, had a food allergy to red meat and eggs because you grew up with it and it's just like it's like cultural and it's like psychological. You're like, well, my mama cooked this and it's good. But when you have like heartburn and you have like you break out, eczema and all kinds of
Yes.
like ailments, or swelling or inflammation or backaches and migraines, you be like, I don't know how I got this migraine. Maybe your body is telling you, okay, I'm allergic to, I don't like this. This is not agreeing with me, especially like dairy products.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I used to work with a guy, he always had migraines, and I asked him, what you eat yesterday? Well, I had some pizza. That's why.
Oh,
Really? I was like, don't cut the cheese away. And then he didn't have migraines. Then he had macaroni and cheese and had a migraine, had to go home. I said, so your body tells you a lot. And I didn't know
lactose.
that, with red meat, because I couldn't digest that thing for the world. I mean, I was going through it. You hear me? And then when I got a food allergy test, the numbers just was reading across the paper, like off the charts. The doctor was like, just stay away from red meat, girl, because we had to go into your colon and yank it out. But so that was one reason why I stopped eating red meat and I kind of weaned myself into plant-based, not even knowing that because your body would just reject it. Like when you're
Right.
sick and when you're sick, you be like, I don't want nothing to eat. Just give me a Sprite or a ginger ale and some crackers. Your body just let you know I need to take a break.
Right. Yeah.
And so and I also believe in fasting as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
because we want to give our bodies time to rest because our digestive system will work all the time, even when we're asleep. It's like, thank God, y'all sleep. Maybe
Right.
I can rest. As soon as we wake up,
Yes.
we drinking coffee and donuts and everything else, and especially the American diet. With our healthy, heavy
Mm-hmm.
breakfast with all the sugars and pancakes and French toast, but I know I'm
Processed.
on a tangent. Yeah, process everything. Preservatives, high fructose syrup. So, and
This
I was a sweethead. I'm from Jersey, so we had everything: pizzas and subs and chicken and McDonald's. I mean, everything was fast food or from a can, to the drive-through. I grew up on that, and then later on in life, I was like, I need to make some changes. I
Hmm.
got to break some generational curses. So,
Right. Right.
Okay, so wait,
and
Yes.
real quick, I'm gonna interject. Where did you grow up in Jersey?
Elizabeth and Roselle.
My family's from
North
Somerset.
Jersey. Okay, South Jersey. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome, awesome.
Well, I love that you do that though. Honestly, like I wanted to do that green juicing thing, but it's hard to stick with. Like
Well, you don't have to like stick with it. Just choose a day out the week. Instead of saying, okay, instead of having like 2 cups of coffee, I'm just gonna have some green juice for lunch or for breakfast or a snack. Or, it can be any type of smoothie you want, you know.
you do the
Just
juicing.
don't put no milk in it, girl. Just use almond milk or cashew milk or something.
I don't use milk.
Just win yourself. Yeah, just win yourself.
Do you do
You don't have to
juicing?
dive into it, but you know.
Do you do
Huh?
juicing or a smoothie?
Excuse me?
Do you do juicing or a smoothie?
I do both.
You know, I like this
Like my
smoothie.
kitchen, I think I have like everything. I can probably open up a whole cafe. Well, it's in storage now because I'm over here overseas, but I have everything that's smoothies, blenders, juicers, hydrators,
Yeah.
sterilizers, knives,
Nice.
food processors,
Right.
so yeah.
But
Okay,
you,
so wait a minute. Honestly, I would want to maybe just do the smoothies because juicing, like my mother would probably, she would probably have to do like 5 billion Hail Marys because like how much you waste when you juice. It is so much waste.
oh yeah,
It's a lot of
No,
waste.
well, you use that pulp and you make burgers with it. You make crackers with it. You make meals with the pulp. It's still fiber. Yeah.
huh,
If you like juicing, okay, this is a trick. So all your green vegetables, right? Once you juice it, you take that out. When you do the lemons, do it separate, or do it last, because you don't want like the lemon peels and stuff like that. But yeah, that's when you go to like vegan restaurants, they use that they don't throw away waste, or they can use it as compost and use that fiber or whatever and use it as compost and plant the organic vegetables that is like a
that's what I
cycle.
was. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was
so
thinking.
they
Use it as
yeah,
compost. Yeah.
yeah. Cause like when I do like my beet juices, I take the pulp and I'll put the beet pulp, I'll make a salad. I'll throw like the shavings of the carrots and the beets, pulps, whatever, um, in my salad, mix it up and go on about my business. Or, make crackers and stuff out of it. I know people was like, I'm here to learn about trading, not about eating
Okay, okay.
rabbit
This
food.
gonna this gonna make us better. It's gonna make us better traders.
Okay.
Exactly, because you have a clear mind of doing it.
Yeah, right.
Hey, well, not only that. I mean, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have health, like a lot of you guys don't
Absolutely.
know,
Amen. Amen
but
to that.
but I just got back from the Philippines, and 2 weeks after I got back, one of my friends had a stroke and passed away at 64, and he had a ton of money.
So my friend who just called, one of our teammates, guys. Sorry, I'm going to interject on that level. So one of our teammates had a death in the family, so please say a prayer. I had asked Barbara to keep them in their prayers as well. And my personal friend who just called, they have a huge family in Mexico. They were all slaughtered last night. 9 people, mostly children. Um,
Oh my God!
so it's the world is full of that stuff. So it's really important that
Jesus. I
we
would definitely lift them up in prayer.
That's
Woo.
crazy.
it's crazy. But that movie, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, that guy was a stockbroker. He did what we do.
Yeah,
Wait,
I saw that. I saw that. I saw
what?
that.
Fat, sick, and nearly dead?
Sounds
Yeah.
sick.
He juiced for like what, 30 days or 50 days or something like that?
Oh my gosh,
Green
he's
juice.
based. Like I can do that. I can juice for a good while. Like, and I think it's healing. Ultimately, I think that you heal your body because you're putting plant based.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ultimately, yeah. But you guys should
Because
watch
I,
it.
yeah, because honestly, like 2.5, maybe 2 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with kidney cancer, and I had to go home in emergency leave to be with her to have a surgery. And she had congestive heart failure as well. And I've been preaching to the choir, to my family. Y'all need to get colonics. Y'all need to, what's in that plate? I'm like the police when it comes to my family because, you know, growing up, seeing my parents, always in and out the hospital from, the American standard diet, which is a sad diet. Standard American diet is a sad diet. I mean, just cultural, habits of eating. And I was like, Ma, enough is enough. God has given you wisdom. I said, what is the difference between you eating and I get on people that I love like this. I get on Jamie. He's pretty quiet today. I don't even hear you, Jamie. But anyway, about healthy eating. And it got
I'm
to
gonna
the point
talk.
Oh, okay, you was quiet there, brother. I want to know,
I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
I just want to make sure, you was there. But anyway, so my mom, she was diagnosed, believing God for healing, blah, 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 blah. And she had congestive heart failure. And, I was like, Ma, you have the wisdom, you have the tools. I'm a living witness of, the turnaround of what God has done in my life. And so she called me one day. She was like, "Baby, tell me what to do. I'm not eating red meat. I mean, I'm just going vegan. I'm being plant-based." I said, "Okay, this is what you need to do." I think my mother, she's been vegan. I'll say vegetarian because she have her moments, which is fine. But she has a clean bill of health. Cancer is gone. No congestive heart failure. I mean, losing weight, about my size now, just turning up. And she was like, "Babe, I feel so much better now." I was like, "See, now if you leave all the cookies, cakes, and ho-hos and donuts and Chick-fil-A, fry this and fry that, to go this and to go that alone and eat some living foods, for your healing, I won't have to take emergency leave, lose my time off vacation and stuff like that to take care of you. You can live a long life." I know, baby, you're right.
Ain't nothing vegan about Chick-fil-A.
No, wait. She crossed the line with
The ice, probably the ice in the cup.
Chick-fil-A supporters on this.
In the straw.
I know my guy Brent's on here. He virtually sends me Chick-fil-A mentally because like he goes when I can't go. Like we support Chick-fil-A. They are a Christian organization, number one. Number two, they have a kale bowl that's 100% vegan. It's like $6 and it's like a half an ounce. It's like have y'all ever had it? It's like their superfoods antioxidant bowl. This thing is like maybe, honest to God, without under exaggerating, it's like 2 ounces. But they charge like.
I need to read the ingredients. I want to make sure that is it organic? I'm only playing, but I'm not. But I am, but I'm not.
Don't knock Chick-fil-A in here, man. Hey, no, but what is the difference between
It's all love, it's all love. So when we go on our Ritz-Carlton cruise, everybody gonna be hovering. What you got to eat today? The pork chop, the steaks. Here she comes. No, enjoy your vacation. You deserve it.
That cruise hey, Jamie, I think that Aliqua and you might just have to switch spots right now. Hey, I'm on the cruise. We're gonna eat the best food. I'm telling you.
Oh boy, that may kill Jamie.
No, we're gonna eat. We'll run it off. Hey, it's okay.
Yeah, y'all turn up, no problem. I'll just be there to, give out CPR and IV bags and everything else. I am.
Oh, hell no.
Oh boy.
Here's your Kalana gift cards.
Oh
Make
boy.
sure.
I did the colonics once, and that's not meant for me.
I've never done
It depends which one you go to. There's 2 types. You should go to the open one, not the closed.
The colonics are the what? I can't believe we're talking about.
It messed with my manhood. That's all I can say.
Mess with your man.
Oh, please. When you go to the doctor and you got to turn and cough, it's the same thing. It's for health and healing. Think of it as going to the doctor, not going to.
My doctor, he was like a big old Italian guy, looked like he was a lineman for the 49ers. When he pulled out his finger, I cried like a girl. Screaming.
You gotta get you a woman doctor.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
There you go. See, that's a smart man. Yeah.
And they got smaller hands.
Yeah,
yes.
This guy looked like this guy looked like he played in the NFL. He was so big.
Yep, I wouldn't going to him.
Yeah, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer, and I've been preaching to him for the longest, but he's set in his ways. But he had he's
you gotta get him some plant-based beer.
He did I'm quite sure he probably tastes all of everything of the earth. So yeah.
Don't leave that alone.
I think he experienced everything that the earth has offered him. But yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Robert Parrish. So I've been listening for a little while. I'm a newbie, and so I haven't had a lot to contribute at this point. I just want to chime in this conversation. I want to highly recommend that everyone watch something on Netflix. It's called Game Changers, and it's all about plant-based diet. And I've been on a plant-based diet for like 2 weeks now, and I've been in.
Woo, woo, woo!
And I'm setting.
All right, brother. Come on now.
Setting all types of strength records right now. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. So it's called Game Changers. It's all about plant-based diet. It has Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has a cameo on there. And this whole concept that we need to eat meat is untrue. It's untrue. So everything is in our plant-based diet. So I've been doing it for about 2 weeks now, and I feel awesome.
Absolutely.
That's it. I'm changing. That's it. Y'all sold me. Y'all sold me on that.
Game Changers is the name of the show on Netflix.
You just got to prepare mentally, and prep your foods and, get, because actually when I first went plant-based, like 7 years ago, I didn't even know that I was going to be plant-based. I did like a 40-day fast. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother story. And when I went back to foods, my body didn't have a taste, and I couldn't stand the smell of animals, cooked animals, flesh. Any type of flesh. And I saw food a whole different way, so, and then I did a lot of research, went to a Living Food Institute in Atlanta, where they taught me how to, they called it uncook, or prepare your meals. And so I had to prepare myself psychologically, emotionally, spiritually for this transition. That actually I didn't knew that I was going to end. I thought I was just, doing a cleanse and doing a spiritual fast, just to deal with some things in my life, not knowing that I was going to go plant-based. And ever since 7 years, I'm like, I'm better than where I am than I was 7 years ago. Although sometimes, and honestly, certain foods, bring back memories, like, during like the holidays, you're like, oh, that peach cobbler and that banana pudding and, although there's alternatives, I'm like, oh, okay, is that, Popeye, is that smelling good, because, you have like those memories, but you be like, then you think about it like psychologically, you be like, okay, what's that going to do to my body? That's a lot of grease. That's a lot of, I definitely got to make an appointment if I'm, but I never backslid on that, but.
You'll get sick if you do.
Oh yeah, they're probably too much.
Yeah, I know. I heard stories of people passed away because their body just totally like rejected and not enough stuff like that. Yeah.
Gotta be careful.
They didn't gradually go in because you got to gradually ease in and gradually ease out.
So you can't take trips to Nebraska, huh?
That's crazy. Real quick, Alik was going to tell me the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan, and she's going to tell me about the culinetics because I've never done that. But we're going to go there. If we're going to go there, we're going to go there today. So.
I screamed like Little Richard.
Oh my God.
No. That's no, you're not. You know what? I don't want to share the video. But let me find it because there's two types of colonics. The one that Derek's talking about is probably called the closed. I went to that one and never went back. I was just like, this is not for me. And then I found one that's called the open, where it's like a spa-like. It's like a hole in a table, and you do everything yourself. And the tube is about the size of a pin, and you don't have to go. And you don't have to go all the way in. Derek. Really, Derek?
That was virgin territory for me.
I understand that, but health, vernacular and language, that your anal can open up really wide. Just look at all your feces that drop in the toilet.
Listen, people, we're using words that, like, my virgin ears. I don't know. I'm prepared for that.
That's life. Everybody has a anus.
I know. Okay.
No, but
Your
but
anal
but
cavity. Okay,
but
your bottom. I don't know what the health words now. If you go see a doctor, they're gonna be like, okay, you're gonna be like, I can't do it. But um,
but in all seriousness,
it's all mental. Because I know a lot of guys that go Usher. A lot of celebrities go. They prepare for the red carpet. Um, or they just need a cleanse or detox, from like heavy drink or heavy partying. A lot of people do that. Even my mom, I sent my mom, my brother a few times, people I work with, especially people I work with, because I'm like, oh no, when you go on R&R, I need to know, oh, here we go, illegal. But, because I had a coworker that passed away a year ago. And that and he was very sick, and I preached to him about the same thing, but he didn't want to take heed. And so now I'm kind of really I just have a passion for health, holistic health at that. But yeah, but it's not that bad. Once you go the first time is always like, oh my God, why? Even when I go, I'm like, okay. But the aftermath is just like, it's like a euphoric, like you can, never mind.
Hey, Aliqua.
But yes.
I'm Cleophas. I'm in Houston. You and I are kindred spirits. I'm very inspired listening to you. And
Awesome.
I'm a big fan of colonics as well. I would definitely.
Thank you.
Jenny, I would definitely.
Please share with them, because they looking at me sideways.
Well,
and I'm telling you, once you go, brothers, you it's like taking. Okay, I'm trying to.
I did
How
my
you have to
colonics in
use the
Houston.
restroom. I know this might be a little graphic, but I have to explain it as best as I can. When you have to use the bathroom really, really bad, and when you finally do, it's just like that. Whew, Lord, I can just take a shower and lay down and go to sleep. Them good ones. That's how you feel, but it's like 100 times, because they said like colonic, you're going to the bathroom like 100 times within 45 minutes. So it might feel quote unquote like orgasmic, but it's like a euphoric, because you're constantly going, you're constantly flushing. It's like an internal shower, internal, cleansing, and then after that you're gonna be like, woo.
Can't you just let the plants do that stuff?
The who?
Can't you just let the
plant?
plants just clean it out?
Yes, you can do that, but you'll get it's going to take a longer time. If you want to get in and get out for 45 minutes, and you be like, okay,
I'm patient enough to wait.
colonic,
I can wait on the trade.
No, because then you're gonna be cheating. You're gonna be cheating. You're gonna be mixing pork chop sandwiches.
Nah, I don't want no pork chop now.
Steak sandwiches, pizzas.
If I can wait on the trade, I can wait on that plant to clean me on out now.
I know that, but see, the colonic cleanses your upper and your lower intestines. It cleanses think about it. Your oh my goodness, what kind of bug is that?
Don't you think
your colon, your intestines is your height. So just imagine, ever since you was a baby, you got stuff on the walls of your intestines and your colon that has probably been there. You probably still got infamil on the side of your colon that's been stuck there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any plumbers in the house, but think about it, how you trying to unclog a drain, and then when you clear it out, you see all the stuff, the gooey stuff on the side of the pipes.
Yep.
That's how your colon is.
Yeah.
And so just imagine your age and your height,
Mm-hmm.
and your lifestyle that you have or had. It's still in there. I'm quite sure you got 20 Thanksgiving still stuck up in you.
All right, I'm gonna have to take this one step at a time. I just do the plant-based stuff first.
Yeah.
And you can talk to
Brother,
me.
I'm telling you, if you go to the it's not that. The first one, you be like, oh, okay, I'm telling you, the first one, 20 minutes in, if you're really toxic, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel like all the cramping. If you really toxic, you're gonna feel all the cramping. But once you get the first one out the way, the second one, you're gonna be like, all right, I'm ready. Just point me to the direction, close the door, play on some nice, music. They play like the serene, like waterfall, like that. You got your diffusers, and you can, trade if you want. while you laying there or just
Trade.
relax?
Don't trade. Don't. She's
Yeah,
no.
Shoot, you can get them pips and get your cologne clean at one time, and then after that, you know, I clean up and then I get a massage and I be done for the day. You hear me? Just to be
orgasmic, and you're like, so you should trade during this.
yes,
No,
honey. I be seeing pips in the spirit. I be seeing pips before they even pop up on the chart. I be like, bye for 100 lots.
but in all seriousness, if I could speak, I did mine with a friend. Actually, I was living in Houston at the time.
I'm getting coffee, and then we're gonna talk about the thing you had on my screen. Okay, so we have that many more minutes to talk about this.
But the colonics is a good thing to do, especially if you've had a very unhealthy lifestyle. My friend, he was like, he said so much stuff came out of him, it scared him. You know, I did it with just hanging out with a friend. Mine wasn't that bad. I was expecting a lot worse, but it was different. But it's I guess it's something for people to try. I did it just going with a friend, and I ended up signing up, and I went through 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, awesome.
But the hardest part for me was trying to hold in the water for a while.
Hey, Derek,
Yes.
Yeah.
they
My
say
brother clogged the machine. That's how bad he was. He's like, yo, since I clogged the machine up, I had to flush it a couple. I'm like, good Lord, what you eating?
one colonic equals to 20 enemas.
Huh?
They say one colonic is equivalent to 20 enemas.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
I never knew
Hey
that.
guys, hey, real quick. I'm at the age now where I'm required to get a colonoscopy. And I've had one recently.
Okay.
And so that whole experience of itself sounds like the same things you guys are talking about. You know, you take this prep stuff and it really flushes you out. I just want to just highly recommend that when you get that age, that you make sure you get your colonoscopies, make sure there's no polyps and that sort of a thing.
Yeah, I just had one
Absolutely.
months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had 3 pallets, little small ones they had to clip out of me. So I understand what you're saying.
Hey, before we switch gears, I got a little quick story I'd like to share. This is Cleophas again in Houston. At the wellness center I used to go to get colonics, one of the assistants, he shared that there was a client that was dying, right? And his family was trying everything to save his life. So as a last ditch effort, they brought him into the center to get a colonic. Now he was worth about 30 million, but his attitude was that, hey, I'll be doggone, he used more colorful language. He said, but I'll be doggone if I'm going to pay $50 for a crap, to take a crap. That was his attitude. So, hey, the guy died. And he had all this money, but he couldn't save his life. So that to me is very sad. So we're all trying to make 6 figures plus, but like someone said earlier, your health is your greatest wealth.
Absolutely. I apologize, Jenny, for turning this into a colonic health session, but
you know what, Aliko, I was just getting ready to say, it's not the first time our conversation turned to our diet. So, but maybe the Lord's trying to tell us something we need to get right. So it's good. It's not, or even the colonic part too. It's not the first time.
And let me try to help the plant-based first, and then we'll talk about that later.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm really interested in that. I really am. Yeah. I'll get with you with that.
Awesome. Well, we can all go as a 6-figure team and get it done one by one.
Oh, I'd rather walk on water first.
Going now.
It's not that bad, Derek.
You guys are funny, man. some great info. Great info.
That is good info, though.
I think I'm with you on it. I got all the info. I just need to get consistent.
All right, no problem. I'll probably drop a well, I don't want to drop it in the chat room, but there's videos on like YouTube on it, and it's called colonic hydrotherapy, and you want to get the open, not the closed. I mean, the open is more comfortable than the closed,
So if it's not
unless you want.
if it's not orgasmic, Aliqua, I'm coming to talk to you.
Well, it was euphoric for me.
Okay, I'm gonna tell
Just
you
knowing,
how to do
just
it, okay?
And for the men,
the first one, if you're a heavy meat eater, is not gonna, honestly, you're gonna feel it like 20 minutes in, but everything is gonna come out of you after you finish. You're gonna be like, "Ooh, I need a cigarette," and I don't even smoke.
stop talking about Jamie.
Lord forgive me, Lord. See, now I got to go on a 3-day fast because y'all up here got me clowning.
Okay, wait. Listen. Okay, so back to the charts. I will talk about that. I will do that. But y'all have me like, my face is pink. So, anyways.
Oh, Jenny.
I know I'm working on being open. Like I am. Okay.
I'm coming to Florida to snatch you up. You know that? I'm coming to Florida.
And I'll come to your vegan restaurant. See, it'll be great. I'll come to Dubai. That'd be beautiful. You need to come to Florida, girl. We would have so much fun. Are you gonna have a drink when you're here? Do you ever drink?
She'll drink grape juice.
I have some green juice, kale, dandelion.
I meant, okay. I meant something else, but that's okay. Like I'm learning how to have like a wine or like a vodka.
Oh, that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't do it right now because I'm in my healing process, manifestation. So, my body is, I don't see nothing wrong with drinking, especially for the stomach's sake. But to each his own. Yeah, no problem.
Really low. I didn't drink like hardly. I had wine every now and then, pretty much for my entire adult life, and then like the handful of times when I was 21. So I'm just now getting to that point of life. So yeah.
Well, that's not my testimony, honey. Derek knew me back in the Iraq days, and Lord have mercy, Jesus. Thank God for salvation.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
All right. Okay. I'll shut my mouth now.
Okay, real quick, while Pat and them are having a super productive call, we're over here talking about, orgasmic colon experiences. That just has me so pink. It's not even funny, but I wanted to show you guys this. Like, so I wrote this out to show you, like, this would be a 48%. And look, your accuracy has to be on point, but it's possible. Now, is it probable? No, like, especially with most of you who haven't had a lot of accuracy just yet. Like, so let's skip it. Let's not even discuss it.
Jenny, I don't see your chart. You put your chart up.
We only see the pretty picture.
Oh, speak a little louder, Jenny.
Guys, I'm yelling at you. No, sorry. Hold on. I got to work on my voice or something. Like everyone says they can't hear me all the time.
Thank you.
I'll make you some kale juice to clear up your palate and your throat.
Okay, we'll have some kale juice. So listen, guys, here's what we're seeing. Honestly, we're going to skip this one. Now, have I known some people to do it? Yes. Have I ever done it? No. I mean, I can't even get to these. I think the most I ever got was like the 10,000s doing this, because even the smallest fluctuation going against you for scalping it's impossible. It's going to blow your account. So like, and if you happen to be holding a trade when there's news, the spread opens a tiny bit, you're done. So we're going to skip that conversation. Yes, I know people who have done it, but we're going to skip it. So something a little more probable. This is super massively high risk. But this is what I'm going to do using that gold strategy we just went over. Okay. I'm going to do approximately 38 trades. Hopefully, if I get it done in 50, I'm okay with that. Because remember, one loss will take out 2 wins. That's really only a problem when you get up here. Down here, you can eat that loss. Sorry, you can eat that loss just fine. But up here, obviously, it's a lot harder. So 38 trades. Hopefully, I'll get it done in less than 50 because there's a lot of fluctuations in the market. To hit, anywhere in the high 6 figures. I'll stop if I pass 700. So when I pass 700, I'll stop. And that's what I'm going to do in terms of that gold strategy we just went over. So I've tested that now. Oh, I didn't go to my other screen. But I wanted to show you this, and I'll post it in the group again. It's just another format, another time. This is 28% growth. But keep in mind, this is going to be our lot size. So if we do this, I want you to do it on demo, just to play. And we'll look for as many trades as possible, as early as possible, because 6 a.m. Eastern time to 10, 11 a.m. Eastern time is really the best time to be playing with gold. You're going to get the most amount of moves, and your goal is just to catch enough. And yes, you're going to trade very, 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 very protectively. So obviously, no broker lets you do bigger than this lot size. Actually, they won't let you put 1,000 lots on there. They'll stop you out. So you have to stack them. You have to stack it. You'd have to put 999, and then you'd have to put 245 for that to even work. For any of you guys who know it or have gotten to that level. But it's not impossible. So if we can get anywhere in this level, this is a very short amount of time. So I'm going to go back to that screen again. Does anybody have any questions on that scalping thing we just went over?
What was the best time you said to scalp?
For gold, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert, I'm not a gold lover, but it's between 6 a.m. Eastern and 10, 11 a.m. Eastern. There's just the most amount of volatility. And remember, you're going to be using the 1 minute and the 5 minute chart. So, okay. And you can technically do this on, I would say GN because it moves pretty well, but we're not going to say GN because, so let me go to a new share because it's not worth the same per pip. So we're not going to.
And does that time frame work for long term too?
Well,
Hello?
in theory, yes. Everything that works for short term works for long term. Everything that works for long term works for short term. In theory, okay? But that's in theory. So like, for example, let's just do this for conversation purposes. Let's change this to the 4-hour chart.
Okay.
And let's change this to the day chart. This is, again, in theory. Now, mind you, this isn't, if I were to choose a long-term strategy, I would not choose this one. And I can show you why.
Okay.
Most of the time, it doesn't work. It doesn't interchange as well as we want it to change. Delete all selected. Okay. So from here, come on, silly butt. Okay, bear with me. Anywhere right here, well, we have our 3 is below our 50, but our 9 technically isn't until like here, right? So let's just play. Let's play together. Hold on. Somewhere in and around there, just to be fair. Remember, it is not going to count until our fast MACD, which is our green one, is below the 0 line, and it is below the 0 line. So we're good there. And now we're safe enough to come check the date, the 4-hour chart. So this is on 10-3-0-100. That's fine, 10-3. Oh, it's gonna take a minute. So look what happened. And this is what we're seeing when we swing trade too. So it's not just this strategy, it's most swing trade strategies, which I don't hate because I've learned to love swing trading. But a lot of people can't deal with that yet. So, gotcha. We'll just say that's the first hour of the day. So if we had, once we find this, ready? So now we found this. This is at the end of the day. I'm gonna change the market time, so 5 p.m. Eastern. Now look how long we have to wait for everything to line up, which is until over here. We are officially, we have 2 bars below the 0 line, and we broke a fractal, and now we're both below the 50. But where the actual candle starts on this one is here. I mean, so we could get enough pips, but we had to wait that many days just watching this to see. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
So that's counterproductive if you're asking me.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll stick to the stress-free trading, but it's a good analysis.
Yeah, no, I like, honestly, for me, EURCHF is moving beautifully. Let's take a look real quick at EJ. I'm up a lot on Euro CHF. A lot.
Pretty good.
Let's see. Let me pull it up. Let's go to EJ. Let's see what that one's doing. So everyone's a little happier.
Most definitely.
Okay, we're working on it. But for stress-free trading, like the whole concept is you take your trade and then you get over it. Like win, lose, or draw, you're gonna go do something else. You're gonna go talk about Coolnetics. You're gonna go do something fun, like you're gonna go learn about something. Okay. Don't know what exactly. And GU is still very good. It's still very valid. And since most of those pips should be hundreds and hundreds of pips, I think that's enough to be bargaining for. Just hold those. Everybody wants to know exactly what I'm doing or how I was able to hit six figures in terms of using these systems. This is how. Like I just took my trades and I had to mentally and emotionally stop looking and get off the charts. So, which wasn't easy for me either, in case you guys didn't know.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely a psychological game.
It is. It's 90% psychological. DJ said he liked the Disciplined Trader better. It's another good book. Very good book.
Hey guys. How you doing, Jenny?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. So yeah, just to emphasize on that, it is a very higher time frames. You really gotta be very patient because, for example, this morning on EJ and eChef, I was down $450, but now I'm like $40 negative.
There you go.
And I've been on it since Thursday, I believe it was.
So you were in it
before
me?
I'm sorry?
If you were in it since Thursday, you were in it before me, maybe?
No, Thursday or Friday when you did the call out.
Okay, gotcha. Well, some
Yeah.
people were in it long before me. So, and they claim a better entry or they claim a faster. And I don't think there's a super right or wrong way to do this. I just think that this is how I see the charts and this is what works for me. So you do have to be patient. And sometimes you're going to close out quick. It's going to be perfect. And that's great. But most of the time, let's be honest, it's not how stuff works. It's not like we wish it did, but it's not. So, okay. So now I'm looking at US 30. Does anybody have any questions on how we're going to look at this particular strategy?
Just gonna replay it.
Okay, so again, if it's below the 50 and the fast MACD is below the 0 line on the 5-minute chart, preferably you want your 2 EMAs also below the 50, okay? We're not gonna pay attention to anything else on the 5-minute chart. We're going over to the 1-minute chart and we're looking for entries. So me, because I like Aliqua, try to, outsmart the smart, which isn't always good. I think that's a weakness a lot of times I have, not a strength. I mean, it can be a strength as I hone in on it, control it, but I mean, I see a potential of a lot of different, entries. We could use a 3 and 9 cross. So this right here, we could use that. We could use an opposite facing fractal. We could use a breakout fractal, meaning it's going in that direction. One of them is faster, one of them is later. I mean, so there's 1,000 ways to use this, but at the end of the day, we're going to want to stay in the direction of underneath the 5-minute. We're only going for 10 pips. On US 30, I was going for 20 to 30. On this broker, it would be 200 to 300 on another broker. And that's it. So when this happens, we take it. That's it.
Jenny.
Yes, ma'am.
How good is it? Have you tried this on GBP NZD yet, Jenny?
I was just talking about that, but the pip value on that sucks.
On GBP NZD?
Yeah, well, here, let's bring it up. Is this
Pip value is
hey, what's the pip value on that, guys? Who
That's
has
almost
it?
$10.
Oh, right now, is it $9?
Yes, between $9 and $10. Compared to $9, it goes up and down daily.
So GM would be my next choice to use this on. I think above US 30.
Yeah, G is one of the highest paying pairs. It is in out of the 28 pairs.
One of the highest paying, well, right now, but it fluctuates down to like $6. You know that, right?
I guess I'd be missing out on the $6.
No, it's okay. Again,
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I got a question
Jen.
about MACD.
Which one is the fastest, the 12 or the 515?
The smaller numbers is the fast one.
Or the smallest? Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey Jen.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. Okay, so with the NZD CAD, right? That you called out and we hit take profits. Well, I hit take profits in like 100 pips. And then we're waiting for the pullback on that. I'm seeing it's about halfway there now. You think it's gonna go all the way down based on the structure, or based on the fact that it's been going down for a minute, you think it's gonna go back up now?
On GN?
No, on NZD CAD.
On
Sorry.
NZD. So let's pull that up on an actual screen, because we have to keep our, we have to, what's that word? Compartmentalize. We have to compartmentalize. I can barely talk, but we have to really, really keep some of the stuff in our brain separate from some of the other stuff, or we'll never be any good. So give me a second, let this load on this other chart. Do I believe it's going to go back up? If we go to naked trading, okay, if we go to like, just go to regular charts, no indicators, I mean, maybe a couple EMAs, but naked speaking, do I believe that it's going to come back up? I do. Do I know when? No. It's still loading. That broker's kind of been freezing lately, and I did clean it up actually. I just think there's too much stuff on it. Some of those indicators are lagging. Okay, so now I'm on NZD CAD. So I'm gonna go to bigger time frame. Okay, so I'm gonna shrink this down, and I'm gonna drag this up. Okay, I'm gonna close out that. Sorry about that. That's silly me. Can you still see right here?
Oh no, it's actually a pretty face.
Thank you. I had like a quote on there, honestly, about trading. Maybe I should put that back. Let's see. Portion of the screen. I think I closed it. So you can see here now, right?
Yeah, I can.
I lost my little control box, but that's okay. So now we're stuck on this broker. Sorry, guys. But here's the deal. So if we're looking at this higher time frame on NZD CAD, I'll just let it finish thinking. We had this huge drop, right? We broke out. We kind of retested this area quite a bit. We have divergence on the daily time frame, but we had a breakout. So this big drop, we broke out. So to come back and retest this area, now that's not pretty. It's not super zoomed in, but I can zoom in a little bit more to show you. We broke out. This is a bigger time frame. So breakout, retest, exactly kind of what we wanted to see. Do we know by how much? No. And could I be wrong? Absolutely. But what we'd be looking for now is some confirmation that this is going to turn around and come back up. So I don't know if this was the same line. It looks like it was the same line. But what I would want to see, like we originally called this trade for, was that 500 pips-ish, give or take. And for a slow mover, that's good. Okay, that's really good. But even from where price currently is, 239 pips from where price currently is. Okay. That's what I'd be looking to see. So we broke out, we retested. That's exactly
And
what
it could possibly go all the way back down before it goes back up too, right?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. So our job is, to the best of our ability, and I'm human too, is not to predict what the market's doing. It's to go with the market when it goes. So the more you tell yourself that as you go to bed at night, the more you remind yourself of that, throughout your day and while you're taking your trades, is your job is not to know what the market's going to do next, and it's to go when it does it. That's all. So that's kind of the mentality. If you guys want to understand why I'm okay with like holding that trade, I don't need to know what the market's going to do, if it's going to go up and down and pull back or not pull back. I just know that right now my indicators aren't telling me it's time to buy, but my analysis says, I'm going to be looking for a buy.
Yeah, gotcha.
Hi, Jenny. On that NZD CAD, I'm looking to re-enter that too. But if you go to the 4-hour chart, I was waiting for it to see if it was going to bounce off of that 50. But if it breaks that 50, I'm going to wait because I'll be looking for it to go back down to the 82.93 area to look to get back in. But if it bounces off of that 50, I'm thinking about getting back in it. If you look on that 4 hour.
This is the 4 hour. We're below the 50. This candle still has an hour and 59 minutes left.
Right. But if it breaks that, then I'm looking for it to continue down.
It might wick down to here before it turns around, which would kind of this out ADR low. But
Okay.
it's officially below it. So what we're looking for is their retest and then drop, okay, for some of those pips. But I'm not looking to sell this pair right now because my
Oh no, I'm looking to buy it. I'm just gonna hold until it doing what it's gonna do on the 4 hour.
You know, a really good strategy for that, like, let's see if I can find it. This is Heikinashi candles. So this is not my idea. I won't take credit for it, but let's pull up NZD CAD. Now, bear in mind, guys, I can't see my green box of where it outlines of how much you can see, but once it shows up, I will show you that it's NZD CAD. Is just wait until you have two Heikinashi candles, especially on a higher time frame. But let me wait till this actually drops. Currently, we're on. There we go. This is NZD CAD on the 1 hour chart. So what we really want to see is we want to wait until either A, we have our 8 and 18 kind of cross back over and we have some more green bullish candles. Like that would be a good enough indicator, but granted, it could just be a pullback. So there's no like golden answer in my opinion, but those candles are kind of nice for those people who want to just go with the trend. So wait until you have two candles. Wait till you have two green Heikinashi candles on the 4 hour chart before you trust it. And of course, everything else needs to line up too.
Noted.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's a solid pair.
Yeah, I like the NZD trades more than I probably should, but I just like the way they move in general. So I do like the way they move.
I think.
You are welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Jen.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to the chat real quick. GN is my baby. I love GN. And you could scalp GN too. So honestly, it might be easier to catch some of the moves. Like, so if you're not loving what you see on gold, GN is a good second pair. You're going to compare it against Australian news because NZD, so Australian NZD and GBP. And then from there, you would take trades or not take trades. So.
Benny, I have a quick question. On your 50, you're using an exponential or a simple?
On this fast strategy, it's a simple.
Okay.
Yeah, on the faster strategy, it's a simple.
And on your swing trade, you use the exponential.
Oh, all of mine are always exponential. I like the way they move better. So that's just me though. We shall see. All right, guys. Are there any other questions or comments or pairs you guys want to take a look at?
Hey Jenny, real quick, this down. You use the simple moving average on the fast and any particular you use the 50 and stick with the 8 and the 18?
So this is let me stop share. Check. Let me go to new share. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully it'll give me back my box. It did not. So let me stop share again. I'm gonna go to new share. Bear with me, this is my only solution, so it's how I fix it when it's broken. And now new share should work. In theory. Everything's always in theory. Got it back. So I can show you. There's 1,000 different ways. Now, if I drop on this one right here, let's go to, I know how to do this in theory. Let's go to trend. Let's add a moving average. 50 exponential. There we go. So this is the difference. Okay. I'm currently on the 5-minute chart. So to show you exactly kind of what the actual difference is, you're going to get a lot more noise on the 5-minute chart. So we need less noise on the 5-minute chart than what necessarily I would like. So right here would be like, this is a perfect example of why I'm bouncing around my screen. but I'm not sure that. Bear with me, let me find that spot again. Okay, so see where the white is the 50. The pink, okay, is the EMA 50. But right here, we don't have any clear direction yet. Okay, right here, even we're kind of both above it, but I'm guessing that even would have been enough. This is the end there. Let's find out. Barely, maybe after spread. Barely. But it's gonna weed out those false noise moves that it would get otherwise. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Right now, I'm sticking with that because I know because that's been. All right. Anyways, any other questions, comments, shares? This is what I want to work at. So as long as you guys have that understood, then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you a couple of days to look over it, and then I don't know if I'm gonna be out of town this Thursday morning or not, or if I'll just have my laptop and we'll do it live. We'll see. I haven't decided yet if I want to go, but it's just real estate stuff, and I don't know. So if I am, I might grab my laptop and just kind of hang out in the morning and kind of see how that goes. But either way, if you guys practice this a little bit, let me know how it's going. And then I'd like us to be able to, if, for example, right now there's 50 some odd people on this call. If Jamie, for example, could use one of his, if some of us have multiple screens, some of us have many things on one screen because it's a bigger one. But if a few of us could maybe have GN up. So one person has GN, one person has gold, one per, probably have to skip US 30, but let's just say EN, GN, gold, any other fast moving high pip pairs, to where a few of us could be looking at them at the same time and saying, okay, does this match? And then when Jamie sees one, or if I see one, now we can kind of pull it up on the main screen of the main Zoom and say, okay, do we agree? How many rules are checked? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're taking it for 10 pips. And as you guys can see, this is the 1 minute chart. So it doesn't take us very long. So this doesn't cross until here. Right? So, oh, whatever. But it crosses there. In this case, it will take a couple of minutes to hit our 10 pips. And then we'll be able to continue to go. So when I say potentially, especially working as a team, teamwork makes the dream works kind of mentality, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to be in and out of 10 pip trades in theory. Now, I'm not recommending you guys go for 27%. I'm saying play on your demo account. Let's see how it goes. And at first, because there's more than one people in person involved, there's a learning curve. But if we can get to the point where Barbara pulls up, you know, we feel like, for example, I'm trying to think of another pair, NZD something, NZD JPY is moving well, or we feel like any pair that moves greater than 60-ish pips a day, preferably way more, but let's just set the bar reasonable. GCAD, we can have enough people saying, okay. But the problem with going off of the GBP pairs is what's going to happen. A lot of them are going to make the move at the same time. So we can't be in all of them at the same time. We want to be in one. So if we have enough other pairs up as a team, we'll cash out on 10 pips. I'll be waiting for another entry. Barbara is going to call, hey, I see this on EN. Okay, cool. We're going to check it. Does it line up? Okay, cool. We're going to take it 10 pips. And then Jamie sees something on gold. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
So that's what I'm kind of hoping to accomplish.
Hey, Jenny, I just want to verify. All your MAs are simple, is that correct?
No, sir. So these are EMAs. This is an SMA.
Okay. Okay.
Only on this strategy. Every single other strategy, my EMAs, they're all EMAs.
Right. Okay. Got you. And then what's the MACD setting on that fast EMA? I mean, MACD.
One of them is standard. That's our slow. Our fast is 5, 15, and 1.
5, 15, and 1. Okay, got it.
Okay. We're waiting for this to cross over that signal line. Not bad. Oh yeah.
basically what you said is just telling folks, hey, look, we just need to go ahead and have people sign up to work together and work as a team, and we can all get there together a whole lot faster. I mean, 24 trades, I mean, that's outstanding with following the rules. They're not recreating.
We haven't lost a lot of trades using this though, guys. But that's just it. When one or two people can do something, now we have to make it to where more than one or two people can do it. So that's really the main question is, okay, so I know what I can do, but now we have to not trick our eyes or outsmart ourselves because yeah, I don't want to pull up that spreadsheet again, but let's say it takes us 50 trades to, let's just say multiple six figures. Like let's dumb it down enough to where it's comprehensible to a lot of people. Let's just say 50 trades and we can on average get 10 in a day. That's potentially six figures in a week, 1 week. Let's say it took a little bit longer, so it's 2 weeks, you know, 6 figures in 2 weeks. Now that I have done, I've done 6 figures in 2 weeks before.
Yep.
I've never went to 7. I've got real close, but I just have that something happens inside of me. So either way, it's possible. It's not easy, but if we all work together and we're all looking for trades, what's going to happen is we're going to say, hey, wait a minute. That means we caught this one played out in 5 minutes. But then Derek saw this other move on EN and we say, okay, he's got the 2 charts pulled up for the 5 minute. He's confirmed it. So he's saved half of our time, right? And then if we're all saving half of our time, we each have a pair up. And even if there's only 5 pairs between all of us, like you're talking about, you know, scalping on steroids, scalping as a team, scalping prayer power or whatever makes you feel happier.
Yeah, that would be beautiful.
That's kind of what I'm going for.
Jenny, when will we do this? Like on Thursdays or Tuesdays or separate from this training, or when we see setups? How would that be like scheduled?
Well, no, the whole concept is we would try to do it kind of like this. So we'd be jumping on. I would want to jump on with you on some other days too, in a very informal manner. So not that I'm obligated to, but like, hey, come on, let's scalp a little bit. If you're free, you're free. Come join me. If you're not, no hard feelings, you know? That kind of mentality.
Awesome.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes, sir.
Jenny.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Oh, okay. I've been the MACD. How do you get? I'm trying to put it on there twice, but it's not allowing me to do that.
Okay, you're gonna have to. That's why it has to be this MACD. You're gonna have to go to your side panel over there. You're gonna have to take the traditional MACD. Okay, so go to oscillate.
That's what I tried doing.
And then you have to drag and drop it in the same spot. So you would take MACD and you drag it right here. You can't drag it on top of it. So drag 2 in the same spot.
Yeah, I tried that. Okay, I'll keep trying again. I don't know why it's not working. Okay.
Jenny.
Yes, sir.
It's Avery. How are you?
Wonderful. How's my news guy doing?
I'm sneaking in from work.
You're grounded. I can't even believe you. No, I'm joking.
I should be grounded, but you know, I'm trying to retire early. Anyway, the strategy, you said that with this, because I was listening to you while I was driving to work. You said, would this be recorded? If not,
yes. This is actually okay. Good. I am only going to leave it up for a very short amount of hours. Please, let's not share this outside of the group. This is the brainchild of me and a friend, and it's not, I don't want to sell it. Like, that's not my ultimate goal. I'm not looking to sell it or to make money. I also don't want somebody else to create a bot or to sell it as a strategy. Like, people do it all the time. So please keep it inside this group. You know, learn this strategy, tweak it to your preference, but please keep it inside this group. It's still pretty new. It's barely a month into this, so, but it works. It works pretty darn well. So
definitely, I've been looking for a scalping strategy to use during the London session, because sometimes I wake up around the London session to find some now later. So if this can pan out a little bit better, I'd be happy to even post some of the things that I see during the night. 'Cause
Okay.
that's the only time I can trade now is during the London session. I have to work during the day.
You would be a bajillionaire. Like, so this would work super well. Just do it well. Or look, can you have your screens up at work? Tell me the truth. Can you?
I mean, I do. My laptop's like right next to my desk. The problem is that because there's times where I have to take calls or sometimes I'm actually researching something, my eyes are on one screen, so I can miss tons of moves on my other screen.
Fair enough.
So I really,
Well, you
so
make
yeah, I
me
can't
feel
really.
we have a call. You get to come in real quick and just post the news because you made a deal. Okay. And secondly, if you can look at a single pair, jump on. And worst case, you're going to see these trades. Let's just take them for a couple of pips. Let's stick with 10. And if, Barbara and I or Liqua and I can kind of come up with something that's going to give us less pips, but more regularity, great. I don't know. That just gets more risky though. I mean, we try to outsmart the smart, but it's not always good. So yeah.
Awesome.
You can come do it with us and then you can walk away. Come on, let's be honest. So I've done 6 figures in 2 weeks. I've done that before. I've done that. That's not super hard.
I'm ready. My next 2 weeks. I'm ready for my next 2 weeks.
Okay, but it's gonna be like, we can't promise how it's gonna go, especially for this. Like, I'm not gonna use AFX. The spread is too high. So we can't use AFX. You have to use CoinX or Hugo's or whatever the one you guys like.
I got Hugo's and CoinX, so I think I should be good.
Yeah, I'd almost say I want to do CoinX, but I love Hugo's customer service better. So we'll see. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna hop off and actually get something to eat. I probably gonna eat some eggs, Liqua, just so you know. But there's gonna be some vegetables in there.
No problem. No problem, Jenny. If you want to eat Jenny, if you want to eat the aborted chickens, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, I do.
I won't judge you at all.
We're taking this.
Eat those miscarried aborted baby chickens. No problem.
Oh my gosh, no.
But Jenny forgot to tell you it was a vegan chicken.
Make sure you say good grace. Just say your grace before you eat it. God will bless those aborted chickens. It's all love, Jenny. I do that with my family. They crack a meat tongue by eat tree branches, right, Jamie? I don't want no tree branches.
Other food. Like, last night for dinner, I made zucchini noodles and spaghetti squash, and yes, we had some all natural antibiotic free chicken, but it was good.
long as it's organic, it makes it a little better. Just eat organic.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I've done too.
Steak and eggs. Brian says he's about to eat some steak and eggs. Is it medium rare? Because
eat the aborted chickens and the slaughtered cow, huh? I'm telling you, that's a good breakfast. Jenny, now you got to edit this right when you post it on YouTube. Just edit all the colonics out. Just leave the strategy up, okay? They like, who is this Aliqua? Let's banter.
Welcome to my world. I don't say can be recorded for future. It's horrible.
It's all love.
I don't care. People are gonna get to know us. They're gonna know the real. They're gonna know about orgasmic colon experiences. So.
They can tell from the guys who are smiling and the guys who are not.
Well, I just wish the best for everyone.
I can't edit it, guys. I'm not that good yet. So, but I adore you. I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna eat something. Don't tell Legal what it is, please.
Okay.
Take care, Jen.
Chop. Okay.
All right, you guys have a good day.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, later, fam.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Guys.